Tommy Robinson wants to support the aims of the Reform Party, but not join it. He does not want to fight it. But this man, Nigel Farage, cannot stop spreading untrue slurs against Tommy Robinson. And there is history to this. Just watch this video. Well, this is really going back in history. It's going back to a Brexit rally. It's actually a betrayal of Brexit rally that I met Tommy Robinson at. And in this episode, you'll see how Nigel Farage joins in with a wolf pack of the mainstream media, just slurring Tommy Robinson, and in this case UKIP, of course, because he was in effect killing UKIP, and it was read by Gerard Batten at the time, who was a very, very decent chap. And so what you're going to see now is the mainstream media distortion of facts, and then you're going to see the British public and the truth. Now, in a way, what you're going to see in this video is parallels the recent events in London, where Tommy Robinson held 3 rallies about the values of British culture, etc., all of which were peaceful, etc. But people just want to ignore them. They want to ignore it. The mainstream media, and in this case Nigel Farage is leading the wolf pack, want to just, distance themselves from it. And the funny part is, of course, Tommy Robinson didn't want this fight. Tommy Robinson didn't want to join Reform. Tommy Robinson just supports the aims of Reform and wanted to be left alone to do his own culture thing. But no, that's not good enough. So I think you'll find this interesting, because it goes back about 7 years. And let's look what Nigel Farage was saying 7 years ago and how true his claims were.
They're now planning a rally in London on the 9th of December where Robinson and Batten will speak. It's a march through Westminster. I know what will happen. It'll be full of skinheads and people with tattooed to the eyeballs. They'll all be drunk before they get there. There'll be punch-ups and God knows what.
Why are you here? Why am I here? Primarily to support Brexit, to stop the EU army, to start off, and also in my capacity as a forces veteran, to highlight the sufferance that the homeless veterans are under.
Jessica, why are you here?
To protect us for our country and for our future generation.
I know it's a stupid question, but why are you here?
We're here today to fight for democracy, for the 17.4 million people that cast their vote for a democratic vote to get out of the EU. Not everyone can be here today. A lot of them are disabled or working, so we're here to represent the 17.4 million.
Great to see you all here. Thousands and thousands of people come out to say they want a real exit from the European Union. What do we say to all of those who say, you shouldn't do it, you mustn't go out, there might be trouble? Oh, ye have little faith, look at this today.
When we were filming, we asked the police at the beginning, during and at the end of the march, and all of them told us that there was no issues, no problem whatsoever, but they were expecting a lot of trouble in the opposition march, the Antifa, Trade Union and Labour Momentum March.
Into the establishment. Tommy, we want you dead! Tommy, we want you dead! Tommy, we want you dead!
Over 15,000 people marched against Tommy Robinson and his fascists. Only 3,000, some are saying only 1,500, marched for Tommy Robinson, that convicted fraudster and thug and his fascists. A total and utter humiliation for Tommy Robinson and his band of fascists. They didn't mobilise barely any people on the streets of this capital, despite all their resources, all the money being ploughed in from the US and elsewhere. This is a historic day. They came out in tiny, derisory numbers, whilst we, those who oppose the scapegoating of migrants and refugees and Muslims, for all the injustices caused by the people at the top of society in this broken system that has to go, we have out-mobilised by a massive, massive margin. A humiliation for Tommy Robinson and a humiliation for fascism and a victory for those standing against racism and fascism.
That is important for so many reasons. One of the reasons, I think, is that we are demonstrating in far, far, far bigger numbers that we're right and they're wrong. There's a derisory number of fascists around the corner. I hope they've had a really bad day. They've clearly had a really bad day.
In order to film some sequences for this documentary, we attended the Brexit Betrayal March. And frankly, we were shocked, absolutely shocked, by the coverage of the mainstream media and the lies and distortion that they gave to the event. We are also shocked by the behaviour of the Antifa, the trade unions and the Labour Party and Momentum in relation to the march that tried to stop you speaking. Are you used to this now?
10 years I've had of this. I thought the media there were there to report the news. I always thought journalists were there to report the news. It was only after years of activism I realised that was completely the complete opposite. They're there to paint a narrative and give people through an agenda and show the narrative they want. Now, the only good thing is with the power of social media, that people get to see the other side of the story. We always try and show the other side of the story ourselves. So anyone who sees that, for example, outside my court case at the Old Bailey, the media reported 250, 350 people. Anyone who watches one of our videos saw thousands there. So then they straight away question, why are the media lying? Why are they lying and what else are they lying about? But for you, come in for your first time, I understand how confusing it is. But to anyone who's been involved in these movements, we've watched the media lie for years.
So that actually was the first part of the first episode of my the Real Tommy Robinson series. I start off with that meeting with him, and then we go back through his life from birth, etc. But here we've got Nigel Farage really slating people off, thugs, drunken messes, skinheads, all of this. And what we had was families with prams and babies. We had no trouble at all, but the other side had arrests, had 5 police hurt, etc. So all I'm about is the truth. That's all I'm about. And in this case, I think Nigel Farage today is doing the same as he did 7 years ago, and he's damaging his own party now. Now, I have to give the man credit. He is the one that got the big numbers now going for reform. But unless he actually starts to see sense and understand what the British people are about and what reality actually is and what the truth is above all, he's going to start damaging the party. I mean, there are senior people now having left the party. You've got people like Ben Habib gone. You've got, having sort of been pushed out really there. You've got Howard Cox now left only the last few days. So you really have to really think about this, Nigel Farage. There is still time to do something. And what I'm suggesting, and I'm going to repeat it, Tommy Robinson is being tortured in Britain against all the government rules about solitary confinement. And 15 days is the maximum. He's been there already for months, and he's going to be there for many, many months to come. It'll be spring sometime if he gets released on the 50% rule. I'm asking you, just as a matter of humanity, just as a gesture towards him, to at least raise the point that we shouldn't be torturing prisoners in British prisons. And if you can't do that, I just can't find you to be a man of principle. I'm asking you to establish that principle as the very first step towards approaching this subject rationally in a search for the truth. So, I'm still going to vote reform, even though I'm not very keen on you now, Mr. Farage. I'm still going to vote reform because I have to vote for the nearest thing to my politics, to what I want. And I'm still urging people to vote reform, despite you. But it is now despite you. And that is wrong, really, isn't it, Mr. Farage? So I actually had you way back before Brexit, when I was a member of UKIP in a committee. I had you stab me in the back very seriously, using a pretty dirty trick, actually. But I put that aside. I really put that aside. I thought, well, maybe it was the advisors around you or something, yeah? But I really am pleading with you now to start to see common sense. You are running with a mainstream media pack that makes you feel comfortable and safe, maybe. Well, let me tell you this, it's not. It's not. And let me tell you this, the reporters on many channels, almost all the channels, who get stories about Tommy Robinson this, Tommy Robinson that, they're not worthy of the name journalists because they don't research it. Anyway, this is a short video. I had to release it because it was just appropriate at this time to do this. I will still vote reform. I'm still pleading for Farage to see sense. So if he could just start and make that first step. Should British prisoners be tortured in prison? And all you have to say, Mr. Farage, is no, regardless whether you like Tommy Robinson or not, they shouldn't be tortured in prison. Say that. Let's make a start at repairing this. Thank you for watching.